So anybody who is just logging on, it's Brittany with Scholarly Marketing. And today we're going to be going over the websites. So again, this is going to be everything with the command website. We're going to be going over how to add some custom pages. We're going to be doing a mortgage calculator, a school search. I'm going to show you guys how to add some custom content to the website, as well as how the testimonial pages will work with your command website. So we're going to be diving into all of that today. Everything that we're going to be doing will be through the command platform. So I'm going to be logging in on that agent.kw.com portal. I'm going to go ahead and get logged in. And then as this logs me in, usually takes a second for everything to load. I am using Firefox, and I get this question frequently, especially during classes. I tend to use the Firefox browser just because I personally think that it works a little bit quicker for my computer. If you are using another browser, that is completely fine. Overall, we generally recommend using Firefox or Chrome because they tend to work best with most of the command platforms. But when you are using Firefox or Chrome, we also recommend using a private window. For Firefox, you'll notice that I have that little mask bandana in the top right. That means that I'm using essentially a private window, a hidden window. But I am in Firefox. I just want to make that clear now because a couple of messages will pop up throughout class, and I want to make sure you guys know where they're coming from. But if you guys are using another browser, that's completely fine as well, whichever one works best for you. Once you guys are logged into command, the first thing I want to go over is going to be the marketing profile, just so we can make sure all of that is filled out and all of your information is populating. So if you already know where this is, completely fine. If you have not gone into this yet, we're going to go ahead and click on our names. And then we're just going to click on the settings option. So name and then settings. Once our settings load on the left-hand side, you'll notice that you now have some additional menu options. And we're going to go ahead and expand on our connect settings and then select marketing profile. Once this section loads, chances are your information is already in here because this means that your website has already been set up. However, if there is something that is maybe showing up incorrectly, or if there's something that you want to adjust, this is where you will want to start. So anytime you guys get a new headshot, new team logo, your phone number changes, your bio changes, anything like that, this is essentially your ground zero for marketing. So any of those updates, you will want to start here. So the first thing you guys are likely seeing is your headshot. One thing I do want to mention with the headshot is it does need to be cropped to be a perfect square in order for it to show up on all of your marketing correctly. So in other words, if it looks a little bit funky here, if it's being squished in any way or distorted, you will want to make sure that you crop it as a square and then re-add it. That way it shows up properly everywhere for you. We also have the team logo. The team logo will automatically correct itself, which is great. That being said, this is the same for the brokerage logo, which we'll have a little bit lower. So if it shows up a little bit wonky here, it is going to correct itself on all of your marketing. So no need to worry about that one. It's just the headshot that needs to be cropped to be that perfect square. For our details, we have first name, last name, license number, team name, job title, and then designations and credentials. For this section, you'll want to make sure that everything is within compliance. So if you are associated with a board that requires your full legal name to be on all of your marketing, you will want to make sure that your full legal name is noted in the name section. If you go by a nickname, that's what you can put into parentheses or quotations, anything along those lines. But if you are with a board that requires your full legal name or a specific professional job title, anything along those lines, make sure you're getting that added and adjusted accordingly. For our military affiliation, if you are affiliated with the military, this is where you can select that. There is a drop-down list, and the second you select one of these options, it's also going to allow you to select the branch. So you guys can come in here and add that in as well. For the bio, you guys can copy and paste your bio in right here. Someone did just ask if we have an example bio. We do have notes that we can send over to you. So if you guys are looking for some tips on the bio, feel free to send us an email to support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can send those tips over to you. You'll also notice that her bio is set with all of the line breaks that she wants to populate. So if you guys do want those entered, she just hit enter and added those in. Someone just asked about the license for 2 states. So Lori actually has that set up. The way she has it is completely fine. So she just has both licenses for both states that she's associated with added in here. And she just put a bar in between just to keep them separate. Underneath our bio, we have contact information. You'll notice that both our mobile and office number are required. That being said, if you are with a board that doesn't require the office number, you can duplicate your mobile number. Just keep in mind that it will do exactly that. So it will actually put your mobile number on everything twice. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. But you'll notice here that the phone numbers are not formatted in any way. You can add formatting in, however, it's not required. So it's completely up to you. For the email address, this can be whatever email address you plan on using with your clients. If you are planning on using the KW email, that's what you would want to put here. But maybe you're a veteran agent that just joined Keller Williams and you might have an existing email, or maybe you're a part of a team and you have a team email. Whatever it may be, this is just going to be the email address that you plan on corresponding with your clients through. It does not have to be the KW email. That's completely fine. For the website itself, there are a couple of things that I want to address in regards to the URL. If you are using the command provided website URL, meaning your website ends in .kw.com, you'll want to make sure that you do not have www. If you add www before the command provided URL, you will get a privacy error when you try to go to the website. So you'll want to make sure if that's there currently that you just remove that www. The other thing you'll want to make sure if you're using the command provided URL ending in .kw.com is you want to make sure HTTPS // is in the beginning. What that's going to do is it's going to make your website clickable from all of the marketing that your clients may potentially find you on. So from the office website, they come across your agent profile, they come across your profile on kw.com. It's going to make your website clickable for those potential clients. Just makes it a little bit easier for them to access your website instead of having to copy and paste. If you guys are using a custom domain that ends in just .com, .net, any of those options, feel free to let us know if you're unsure how to have that added to your website. However, a great way to double check is just to put the URL in the toolbar, and then you can copy it from there, as it will add in exactly the formatting that it will need. But if you guys ever have questions on a custom domain that maybe you purchased, we can help with that as well. Then we have our brokerage information. You'll notice the logo does look a little bit wonky. It does correct itself everywhere, so we don't even have to worry about it. But for the brokerage information on the right, you do want to make sure that this information makes sense. If you maybe just transferred market centers, or maybe you work with a business center or a mega team, make sure that this address is that office address that you are associated with. Scrolling down a little bit more, we have our compliance information for your legal footer text. If you have specific text that your office requires on your marketing, this is where you can paste that in. Lori doesn't have anything required by the office, so she used it to mention that she is licensed in multiple states, which is completely fine. If there is specific text that you guys wanted to add in here, that can be done right within this text box. For your legal footer links, this is fantastic for agents licensed in Texas. This is where you are going to want to add your information about brokerage services, as well as your consumer protection notice. Both of these items need to be on every piece of marketing, so this is a great way to ensure that happens through command. Any legal footer link that you guys add to this section will show up on every piece of marketing that goes out through command. So this is going to be smart plans, email campaigns, your website, everything. So that it's kind of like your one-stop shop for that. Legal footer images, same thing. If your board or state requires a specific image to be on all of your marketing, this is where you can plug that in. It's also a great place to add designation logos. We've seen agents add those in here. Keep in mind, they do show up very small at the bottom of all of your marketing. They're only 128 by 48 pixels. It's kind of like a thumbnail, shows up right at the bottom of everything for you. But it is a great option to add your designation logos if you've acquired additional designations. Next is our social media. For social media, my big recommendation for this is to make sure that you're using a business page. And if you haven't had a chance to create a business page yet, don't panic. You can create this at any time and plug that URL in. This can be done just by pasting the new URL right under Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We also have tip videos that will go over how to generate those business pages, so we can send those over to you if requested. Again, you can shoot us an email over to our Scott Leroy marketing email as well. For YouTube and LinkedIn, YouTube, as long as it's real estate geared, I would say plug that in here, especially if you guys have an open house or like a walkthrough channel. A lot of agents have been doing that since COVID, where they'll record a virtual open house and then put that on a YouTube channel so they can share it with everybody. That is a great option to put here. And then LinkedIn, any profile you guys create through LinkedIn will be business related, so that's good to go. For Google Analytics, this is a way for you to track the traffic on your website itself. This is a great tool to add. We do have a tip video hyperlinked in the notes that I shared previously, and they're also going to be hyperlinked below this recording just in case you guys need them. And there's a tip video that goes over how to set that up. If you guys did make any changes to this section, make sure that you are clicking save at the bottom. And I did get a couple of questions relating to DocuSign in the chat. If you guys want to send those over to our support email, they can take a look at your account for you. But in regards to your marketing profile, this profile will only communicate with your marketing. DocuSign would be a standalone platform. We're going to go ahead and click save all the way down at the bottom. And then once this box pops up, it just lets you know that everything that you just saved is good to go. We'll X out of it. Before jumping into the website itself, on the top right-hand corner, you're going to see use my information to brand my agent site. You just want to make sure that that is toggled green. If you're seeing a gray dot, that just means that all of the information you just took that time to fill out, it's not being shared yet. So you want to make sure you click that and you get that green bubble. Once you guys have confirmed that is toggled on, we're going to go ahead and go over to our consumer icon. The consumer icon is the last option on our left-hand panel. And this is going to be where all of our website is going to be set up. It's taking a second to load. If you guys are seeing the same thing, don't worry. I think they're running some updates on command. It's been taking a couple of minutes to generate. Try opening it in a new page. There we go. So if you guys are having the same issue, oh, now it's going. If you guys ever have an issue where the page doesn't load, you can also right click and open it right in a new tab. And any browser will let you do that. X out of my double tab now. So now for here, once your consumer page does load, your page should look pretty similar to mine. Chances are you have a URL populating here. This is letting you know that your command website is live and this is your existing URL that's been set up. And then I have the 3 generated pages that we actually do in the website 101 class, which was taught, I think, last week. I think it was last Friday. So for these pages, again, these are just the pages that are created automatically when you run through the website setup. If you are not seeing either the URL populating here or the auto-generated pages, it means that your website may not be set up yet. You are still completely welcome to go through this class. It will allow you to add all of those custom pages on. However, in order to make those pages live, you will need to have a live website already set up, which is covered in website 101. That's also hyperlinked in our notes, just in case you guys want to go through that again. It is available for you guys as well. But now that we've confirmed that your website is ready to go, what we're going to be doing today is adding on these customized pages. The way that I generally go through this class, because I feel like it's easier for you guys that are following along, is that we will create all of the pages at once, and we'll kind of go through and create all of our custom pages. Then we'll go ahead and make them all live at the same time. It's less jumping around for you guys, so it makes it a little bit easier and consistent. It does get a little bit repetitive, so I apologize for that, but the less jumping around makes it a little bit easier for you guys who may be following along with the live class. So for this, all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on create a new page in the top right-hand corner. And then for every single page that we are creating today, we are always going to use the top option. So on my agent site. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on create page. For every page that we do today and any page that you guys create in the future, it's my personal opinion that you always give it a name. This is going to make it a lot easier for you guys to tell which page is which. And when we go to make them live later, it's going to make it that much easier for us to confirm which page is which when we're giving them names and titles on our website. So for the first page that we're going to be creating today, we're going to be doing the testimonial capture page. So you guys can call this testimonial capture, review capture, anything along those lines, but it's going to be the page that allows your clients to leave a physical review. So I'm going to call this review capture. And this is something also that only you will see. So whatever you guys call this page in the top left, only you have access to it. It can also be edited. It's more so just a mental note so you know what is on this page without having to open every single page to check that. Once you guys have given it a name, I'm just going to run down what the options are on the right-hand side so you guys have a little bit of an overview of what you're looking at. Primarily, most of the things that you guys will be editing will be done right in this section on the right-hand side. And if you guys went through the website 101 class, we mentioned that there as well. This massive section in the middle is actually the preview. There are a couple of pages where we'll make adjustments to this section. However, anytime that you guys are dealing with a widget, and a widget's kind of like a template, you're automatically going to do all of your edits on this little section on the right-hand side. For the widgets that are available for the command website, we have the Meet the Team. Meet the Team is fantastic if you're set up with a team that the office recognizes. So in other words, if they have added you into the team tool, this widget for your website will actually allow you to pull all of your team information, all of their individual profiles, their headshots, contact information to a nice template that kind of allows you to just show who's on your team, gives their contact information and their headshot and all of that information. We have our agent profile where, again, if you guys went through the website 101 or if that looks familiar to you, it's your agent profile page. This is where your headshot will pull your basic contact information and your bio. We're going to be using this one later for the school search. We have the contact form, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a lead capture widget, and it allows your clients to leave their information right on your website. When it comes to the contact form for the agent pages, we don't generally use this only because if you've already gone to your website, which I'll pull up Lori's website after to show you guys what it looks like, there is an automated contact form at the bottom of every single page. So you don't have to worry about adding a contact form because there's already one automatically. This is kind of like an extra one. So just keep that in mind that if you do use the contact form, it may duplicate that feature. For the testimonial carousel and the testimonial list, these are the two options that allow you to actually promote your testimonials that are captured by the command website. The carousel is exactly what it sounds like. It's essentially a carousel that rotates through. This one allows up to 4 testimonials. Then we have our list that allows up to, I believe now it's 12. It was 10, but I believe it was just updated. So now it allows you to promote up to 12 testimonials at once. Jumping down to the testimonial capture form, this is the form that we'll be doing now. But I just want to make sure that you guys also understand that this form that we're going to be creating is what will actually prompt your testimonials to appear on your list and your carousel. So as long as your clients are adding them via the testimonial capture form, you as the agent and owner of the website can come back into the back end of your website and refresh either of these pages, and the new testimonials will populate. They do not populate automatically, which we'll be going over today as well. They do need to be manually refreshed. That is more so for you, just in case, heaven forbid, an agent accidentally enters the same testimonial multiple times, or if there's a glitch, or if there's something that you may not want on your website. This allows you to actually take a look at the testimonial before it shows on the live page. For our company profile, this is also the same company profile that you would have seen on our website 101 class. It's essentially just a template. It's a layout that you guys have available. It allows you to add 2 images and 2 text boxes, and then kind of like a title as well. So if you're unsure where to start, this is a great way to start in kind of getting that content added to your website if you're unsure what type of layout you want to use. We also have the download my app option, which is pretty straightforward. It's going to allow your clients to actually download your mobile app, which is pretty cool. It shares your mobile app directly with them. It's fantastic because even if they don't go to this page on a mobile device and they go to it on a website, they will still have access to sign up and start saving listings that same day. If you guys haven't taken a look at our mobile app class yet, definitely take a look at that. There's been a lot of fantastic updates to that platform that you guys now have access to. So for this page, all we're going to do is add our testimonial capture form widget. In order to add any widget that you guys are looking to work with, all you want to do is essentially click on that widget and drag it over to our blank space. So I click on it, drag it, and then I'm just going to release my mouse and drop it right onto that blank space. And with any widget that you guys pull over from this left-hand side, so again, this will apply to all of them. Once you drag it over, it generally looks a little bit wonky. It has that gray overlay because it hasn't been configured yet. We're essentially just dropping kind of like a template onto this section. In order for us to tweak this and make it live and kind of just make sure that it has our information, all we're going to do is click on our configure widgets on the bottom right. And this again will apply to any widget you guys are using. Once we click on that, what will generally happen is it will list all of the widgets that you have added to your page already, where this is the first one. This is really the only one for this page. All we're going to do is click on it. So I'll click on testimonial capture. And then it brings us to the editable platform. So again, with most widgets, this is kind of what I had mentioned earlier. All of my edits are actually going to be done right in the section. I'm not even going to have to touch anything over here. So for my team name, if you're not a part of a team, completely fine. Just put your first and last name. It's just going to brand this page with your name. So it makes it a little bit more personalized. So I'm going to type in Lori's name, God free for her. So if you guys are on a team and you want to have this team website with only your team name, you can plug that in. If you're a spouse team, you can put both spouses' names. Or if you're working as an independent agent, you would just put your first and last name. For our headline, this is going to be what the headline text is. So that's where it's going to populate. You can put anything you guys would like here. So if you want to put something along the lines of like leave a review or how was your experience, anything along those lines, I'm just going to put leave a review here. But if there is something that you guys would rather add, go for it. Oh, I need my A. And you guys have up to 60 characters to play with too. For the description, I'm going to leave that as is. And if I drag that down a little bit, you guys can see exactly what's going to pop up. But it's essentially just saying thank you for being a valued client. And it automatically has all of that anyways. If you want to add a different description or type in something, you can just type right over it and it will remove the default for you. Again, I'm going to leave this as is. For our review headline, and I'm going to zoom in or zoom out a little bit just so you guys can see my full screen. For the review headline, this is the text that's going to show up right above our stars. So all it says is, how would you rate your experience? I'm going to leave that as well. It's pretty straightforward. It's just kind of prompting them to click on the amount of stars they would provide you as their agent. If you guys want to tweak that, you can type in the new text as well. Then we have our placeholder text. The placeholder text is going to be the suggestive text that shows up in the review section itself. So once the page is live, this review placeholder is just going to show up kind of like exactly how it is here. Gray text messages, or the gray text right here. It's going to show up in the review, just letting your client know what type of information you're looking for here. If there's something specific you want to add here, you can type right over this. And again, you have up to 400 characters. If this is good, you want to leave these the same as well. All you'll do is go ahead and click on Save and Apply. And if there's content that you want to add in here, you can come back in here later and edit these pages. Nothing we do today is going to be set in stone. You guys can make as many edits to these pages as you'd like. But once I click on my Save and Apply, you'll notice that my gray overlay goes away. My headline is added and Lori's name is also added. It now says, how would you rate your experience with Lori Godfrey? Would you recommend Lori Godfrey? Kind of personalizes it a little bit more, adds that information in for you guys. But once we have that information, make sure it looks correct. Make sure your spelling is correct if you guys tweaked anything specifically. And then we're going to go ahead and click on Save Changes in the top right. Once you guys get this screen, I want to explain what the options are here. Generally, if you were adding new pages, you would go ahead and click on Yes. Because we are adding so many pages today, in order to get through them and make sure that we have time to do all of them, we're going to go ahead and click on No, and then make all of our pages live at the end of class. If you guys already clicked on Yes, don't panic. I'll show you guys how to get back. But if you still have this screen up, just click on No. And what it's going to do is it's going to save our page and just not make it live. We'll make it live at the end of class. If you did click on Yes and you're on a different screen, go ahead and just click on Agent Site Pages right at the top, and it will bring you right back here. And now you'll see my review capture page is right here. And now you can tell that it's just not live on my website. It saved my page. It's just not active. My eyeball is showing up as gray. Any eyeball that shows up as teal, you'll notice they're clickable. This means that they're live pages. Gray just means that it's not actively on your website. So again, if you accidentally clicked Yes, no problem. Just click Agent Site Pages at the top and it will bring you right back to this page. Once you guys are back on this page, we're going to go ahead and add a mortgage calculator. So in order to get that started, what we're going to do is we're going to prep our page first. So we're going to go ahead and click on Create a New Page in the top right-hand corner again. And then we're going to make sure that we stay on My Agent site and Create Page. Then on the top left-hand corner, we're going to go ahead and give this page a name as well. Again, it's going to make our lives a little bit easier when we go to make all of these live. And we're just going to call this one Mortgage Calculator. For our mortgage calculator, in order to get this page prepped, we're going to go ahead and use the Download My App. So all I'm going to do is do the exact same thing we did with our testimonial capture form. And I'm just going to drag that and drop it on my blank slate. And it usually takes a second for it to load, so don't panic. And once that loads, we have our content blocks right underneath our widgets. And we're going to go ahead and click on content blocks. It should be right on the bottom right above configure. For your content blocks, you have two options. You have an image option and a text option. For our mortgage calculator, we're going to go ahead and use the text option because we're going to be adding in a custom code that's going to actually add an interactive mortgage calculator right to your website, which is fantastic. If you guys are having any trouble with the app itself, try dragging it back over, do it a little bit slower. Sometimes if you do it too quick, it won't actually add the widget. And if you guys get stuck on this, don't panic. We can add the text and you can try adding it in afterwards. That's completely fine as well. I just start with the mobile app. That way I can drag this over afterwards. So once your screen looks like mine, now we're going to go ahead and drag our text box. The text box is going to work the exact same as our widget. So we're going to drag it over, but now you'll notice you have an option. You can either drag it above or below your download my app. You're going to want to make sure that your green line is above the download my app widget. You want to make sure that it is not underneath. So make sure that you have a green line above before releasing your mouse, and that will drop a text box right above your mobile app for you. And now what this means is when we copy and paste our code, which I'm going to share with you guys in the chat, when we copy and paste our code, we can paste it right over our text, and that's going to populate right above our mortgage or our download my app widget. And I'll go ahead and pull that page up for you guys, and I'll share it in the chat just so you guys have it. And if you guys are following along later on, maybe you're just watching the live class now, no worries. All of this is typed out verbatim on the notes as well, just in case you need it. So once you guys have the mortgage calculator page up, all we're going to do is scroll down about halfway, and you're going to see step 2, copy your source code. So all we're going to do is copy this. Copy to clipboard, and it flashes really quickly and says copied. That means that you've copied the entire code and you're good to go. And this is what the calculator is actually going to look like as well. This is a preview of it. But once you guys have copied that, we'll go back to our command tab. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click the text. You guys can select it, whatever's easier. All I want to do is make sure that the text, the preview text here, is highlighted. Now that that text is highlighted, I can right click and I can paste my code right over it. That way, insert your text here doesn't show up on my live website. That's just going to allow me to get rid of that. Once you guys have pasted your text, I'm going to go ahead and highlight it once more. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on my link button. And if you hover over it, sometimes if I hover over it just right, it says that too. There we go. It should say link when you hover over it, but it's the button right here. And that's going to make that code live. So it essentially shows you what that code is going to populate. That way you can just make sure this page looks perfect. So anytime you guys are adding a custom page, if you guys have an iframe code, or maybe you have HTML that you created yourself, completely fine. All of that can be added. You just need to keep in mind that a widget needs to be used. So the website itself will not allow you to save any pages if a widget is not added. So the reason why we added this download my app underneath is so that we can actually save our page at the end. If you've already tried adding completely custom content and you did not add it through a widget or by adding the mobile widget at the bottom, you'll notice that save changes will not be clickable. So that's actually the reason why we add our download my app at the bottom. Also, it's another way for clients to download your app, which is fantastic. Once you guys have all of that added, all we're going to do is go ahead and click on Save Changes. And then we're going to go ahead and click on No once more. That way it will just, we'll do all these live at the end. The next page that we're going to be adding is the school widget. So this is fantastic for local schools. It's going to allow you guys to select your location, and then it's going to pull local schools in that area. The beauty of adding this page is it's also customizable for your clients. So if you guys say work out of Seattle, Washington, but maybe you have a referral client that's in Boston, Massachusetts, if they come to your website, they can actually plug in the areas that they're interested in locating school information, and it will adjust to them. So what you set this platform up to, it is completely customizable by the people who are on your website. They can tweak it for themselves, which is awesome. So it doesn't lock you into that one location. So we're going to go ahead and click on create a new page in the top right again. And then we have on my agent site and create page. This does get a little repetitive. I apologize. For this one, we're going to go ahead and give this one a name as well. And I'm just going to call this one local schools. And if you guys are still stuck on the mortgage calculator, feel free to email us at support@ScottLeroy Marketing as well, and we can take a look at the page. If you guys are running into any errors, we can take a look at it. Once we have a name added, all I'm going to do is go ahead and drag and drop my agent profile over. So same thing as the other two pages. We're just going to drag and drop that to our blank section. And your page likely looks pretty similar to mine. Outside of the headshot and the name, it should be your information. But overall, it should have a spot for your headshot, your name. It probably has basic text message here. This is actually filler text, which we'll be removing. And then whatever your bio was and your marketing profile, we'll pull over to here as well. And all we're going to do is go ahead and click on configure widgets. So we can essentially manipulate this widget so we can plug our school system in as our bio. It's going to make it nice and clean. Once we click on that configure widgets, we'll click on our agent profile, very similar to our testimonial page we did earlier. And all of our edits are going to be done right in this section on the right-hand side. So for your headshot, I've seen some agents swap this out with like a picture of a school or like a little cartoon. Completely fine if you want to do that. I'm going to leave this as her headshot for now, but if you do have an image that you want to trade it with down the line, that can be edited. For our page title, we're going to adjust that. And again, all of this information is mentioned, and I'll toggle over just so you guys can see it. Everything is mentioned step by step for all of these pages. So if you guys do get stuck, like how we added in, what the page title would be, all of this information is also mentioned in our notes, just in case you guys need that. But for our page title for this one, I'm going to put local school search. And then for the role and company, you can do one of two things. Some agents will just put a space in order to bypass this, the filler text, or you can actually type in something about the local school search, like greatest schools ever, or greatest schools in the county, or whatever you guys want to put. If there's something specific, you can also put something as simple as search for schools in your area. That way they know that they can edit this as well. So they're not stuck looking at, Seattle, Washington, if they happen to be looking for homes maybe outside of that area. Once you guys have plugged in whatever you'd like here, for the bio title, we're just going to put a space, one space, and that's just going to bypass the about Lori. It is required, you'll notice here. So you just have 1 out of 100. It's just a space. And then for our bio, I'm just going to select my entire bio and delete it. And in order to confirm your bio is completely deleted, you should see in gray, enter agent bio. If you're not seeing that, it means you still have some hidden characters in there that you're going to want to delete. And another way to confirm that you removed that bio is the second you click outside of it, it is going to get angry and turn red. So once you click outside of it, if it says agent bio is required, you're good. For these 2 or 3 sections, we're going to leave those as is. This is just letting them know at the bottom of the page to contact Lori, which is fantastic. And then it pulls her mobile number and email address right from her marketing profile, which that should be happening the same for you. So now that we have that up, we're going to go ahead and pull up our schools page, and I will drop it in the chat for you guys. Make that a little bit easier. For this one, once you guys have this page up, you're going to want to select a location to start. My personal recommendation is do a city and state because that's going to cover more ground. If you choose an address, it's very localized to that address. You can also do a zip code. That's completely fine. But I've noticed that city and state tends to cover the largest area. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Sarasota because that's where I am. And keep in mind, this is editable, so don't panic. If you cover multiple areas, just put kind of like the main area, that's completely fine. And then if people are looking outside of that, they'll have access to edit. And the second I click outside of it, it is going to update my preview. So it's going to show me exactly what is going to be added to my website, which is pretty cool. You guys can see it in real time. For the size, we're going to leave that as is. Yours should default as 640 by 500. And then for our email, you'll just put in whatever email address you guys use. Lori's email. And then your website URL. This is going to be whatever your website URL is currently. And I just typed in the full URL. And then I'll go ahead and click on my checkbox. Agree to the terms of the widget. And then get widget code. And that's going to give us that massive code, very similar to the mortgage calculator. It's just going to generate that code for us. And I'm just going to double click it to highlight all of it, and then I'll just copy it. And you guys can do shortcuts too, Control C, Control V, Command C, whatever you guys want. But just so you guys can see it, I'm just copying it. Cut and copy, same thing. It's just completely up to you guys. For the URL, no, this is more so just so they know what website you're adding it to. It's just for their records to kind of track and see how many people are utilizing this widget. So you don't need the HTTPS for that particular platform. You just want to make sure that it is a valid URL. Once you guys have copied this massive code, we're going to go back to our command. And we're just going to get this added to our bio. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that this is going to be centered. So the way that this ends up sizing out, especially if you pull it up on like a mobile view, or if you pull it up on maybe a smaller laptop versus a larger computer, it may end up left aligning this entire widget. So in order to avoid that, we're going to start with the less than greater than symbol and then type the word center. And then we're going to close it with the other less than greater than. Some people have called these carets. I'm not quite sure what the actual term is, but that's what it should look like. So the less than greater than center, and then you're going to close it with the other one. Once you guys have that, we can paste in our code. And then we're just going to end with it as well. So less than greater than center, close. And this is noted in the notes as well, just in case you guys get stuck. Once you guys have done that, all we'll do is go ahead and click on Save and Apply. And you'll notice that it drops it right in. You can ignore this line. I don't know why that happens. It's just on the preview. But you'll notice that it is perfectly centered. So in other words, if we didn't add that center option, what ends up happening is it ends up populating like right over here instead of actually being centered. And especially if you end up zooming in or out, or if you end up on a larger screen, a smaller screen, we've noticed that it ends up left aligning without that center information. So once you guys have had that stuff added, we've clicked on Save and Apply. Nope, the mortgage calculator, you don't have to worry about doing the center. This is just for this one because we're adding it into another widget. So because we're dropping the school into the About Me widget, that center option is just going to make sure that the About Me widget knows to center it. The mortgage calculator will do it automatically. Once you guys have clicked on Save and Apply, we're going to go ahead and do Save Changes in the top right. And this time we're going to click on Yes. And if you guys already clicked on No, don't worry. I'll show you guys how to get to it just in case. But this time we're going to go and click on Yes. When you click on Yes, it should bring you to this page, Agent Site Pages. And if you guys did click on No, it just brings you back to Agent Site Pages here. Click on Site and App Settings in the top right. Site and App Settings, and then Agent Site Pages. And that will bring you right to where we are now. Once we are on this page, we're going to go ahead and get those 3 pages that we just created added to your website. So we're going to go ahead and click on our Add Page option right underneath the last page on your website currently. And now you'll see this is why it is so helpful to give your pages names. Now we can see exactly what is what. So I'm going to start from the bottom, work my way up. So I have my review capture first, and I'll go ahead and click on that bubble and continue. So what that's doing is it's selecting this page, and we're going to give it a title and a slug and some SEO information and get that added to our live website. So we'll click on continue. And then for our page title, I have the notes for class up on another screen. I will drop this in the chat again for you guys, just in case you need it. But all of the information is mentioned in these notes. So for our page title, I'm going to put leave a review. And you guys can tweak these. None of these are set in stone. So if you guys want to use something different, if you have something specific you want, completely fine. These are just suggestions. And then for our slug, I'm going to do leave -a -review. Because for slugs, you cannot use spaces. And rather than having it all smushed into one word, it is much more legible when you use those dashes. So now they can actually see that it says leave a review. And then for our SEO, I'm going to copy this exactly from our notes. It says, let us know about your experience working with, and then you'll type your name in here. So we'll do Lori Godfrey. So let us know about your experience working with whatever your name is, or if you guys used a team name, or if you guys use both spouse names. And then once you guys have that added, just click on save. And then once you guys click on save, it does it very quickly, but you guys have settings were successfully updated. That means that this page is now officially on your website. So now I'll go through this process for the other 2 pages. Same thing, add page. And now we'll select the bubble for our mortgage calculator and then continue. For this one, we need to give this one a page title as well. For this one, we're just going to do mortgage calculator as the name. For our slug, we'll do the same thing, just with that dash. And then for our SEO, I'm copying that one from the notes as well. Mortgage calculator to assist with the home buying process. And then once you guys have your title and your slug and your SEO added, we can go ahead and click save once more. And we get our ribbon saying that it was successful. And then our last page, we have our local schools. So we'll select our bubble for local schools and then continue. And then for this one, we have our local school search as the title. And again, if there's something else that works better for you guys, you can plug that in. And then for our slug, for this one, I just did school search, trying to keep it short and sweet, because this will be the actual URL for this page. So if you guys wanted to share, maybe you had somebody asking specifically about schools in the area that they were interested in, you can actually share this URL and it will bring them right to that page. They'll still have access to your entire website, but this will just bring them directly to that URL so they don't have to go looking for it. And then for our SEO, we have search for schools in your area. I'm copying it right from the notes. Those notes will come in handy just in case you guys want to make edits down the line. Or again, if you guys are like a team, set up as a team, or if you're spouses and maybe you're doing your website and now you'll have to go back and do a spouse's website, all the instructions are typed out for you guys just in case you need them. And I'll go ahead and click save once more. And now I'm going to go back to agent site pages. And I'm going to show you guys 2 pages really quick, just to kind of show you guys what it will look like. The first page is I want to show you guys what testimonials are going to look like as they come back. And then I also want to show you guys how to add completely custom content, just in case that's something that you guys are interested in down the line. If you guys are seeing, someone just mentioned that their eye is still gray after saving the testimonial, you would need to make sure that it's live on site and app settings and the agent pages that we were just on, and then the eyeball will turn teal. But it would need to be added as a live page in order for it to show up as a live page. So for these 2 pages, you do not need to actually add these pages right now, because if you have not added testimonials yet, this will show up as a blank page on your website. But I'm just going to go through the motions so you guys can see exactly what it looks like. And then we also have a quick tip video that you can take a look at. It's hyperlinked on our notes right at the bottom, just in case you guys only want to take a look at the testimonials down the line. So we do have a condensed version as well. But in order to add testimonials that have already been captured by your capture page, which I'll show you guys what that page looks like as well now that it is live. And anytime you guys go to a website page that you set up, for example, if you guys tinker through the pages that we just added, they do take a couple of minutes to load the first time that you go to them. It's only because they are brand new. So let me, if I go through her website, it will be a little bit quicker. But it does usually take a second for them to load, only because when you make them live for the first time, it's the first time anybody has gone to that page. I'll give it a second. Oh my goodness. There we go. It does usually take a second. Sorry about that. So once it does load on our drop-down list, you'll notice that our new pages are there. In my leave a review, this is what the actual page will look like. So it is an interactive page once it loads. And it's going to allow them to leave a testimonial right on your page for you. However, again, and I had mentioned this at the beginning of class, but I just want to reiterate just in case you guys get stuck on this later. When a review is added to the leave a review page, to this page, it will not show up automatically. You do need to manually trigger that to show up on your website. That's what I'm going to go over with you guys now. So maybe if you have a couple of reviews that you're adding in here, maybe you're pulling some from Zillow and you're just going to manually add them in, or someone left you a review on Facebook or realtor.com or anywhere. You guys can actually plug these in as the client, put their name, their last name, address, client since, your reviews, or your stars, and then your review, and then you can preview it and it will submit it to you as the agent. So in order to have this added to your website, on command, you would want to come back to your consumer page, go back into a create a new page, and just like all the other ones, it will be on my agent site and create. And then you'll want to use either the testimonial list or the carousel. So again, the carousel will allow you to add, I want to say it's 4, but it might be 3 testimonials. I'm second guessing myself. And then the testimonial list is up to 10. However, recently we've had some agents with access up to 12. So we're hoping that that's going up as well. But you'd want to give it a name. So I'm just going to call this one reviews. That way I know what the page is. And then all I would do is just drag and drop whichever one I wanted to use. So for this one, I'll do the testimonial list. That one allows you guys more. So a lot of agents tend to go with that one. And it does the exact same thing as our testimonial capture form. We have that gray overlay. It's because it hasn't been configured yet. So in order to configure it, we click on our configure widgets and we select our testimonial list. And now it's going to allow us to give it a headline. So for here, I'm just going to put client reviews. And then for our intro text, you can either put a space because it is required, or you can type something in about your team, about yourself, whatever it may be. I'm just going to put, see what our past clients helped you say. Nice and simple, short and sweet. Now is where you can actually see the testimonials that have come in. You'll see the testimonials right at the bottom. So right now we have 2. They're both test testimonials that we submitted through, but you'll see that they're both populating here. If I click save and apply, it's going to drop those onto that template, and it's using all of the client details. If I drop these on and I say, you know what, I don't really want client since, I don't really need their last initial. I just want first name, city, and neighborhood. I can uncheck those, save and apply again, and it will tweak it for me. So if you guys are editing those, that's completely fine. Keep in mind, once you submit a review, so once it's submitted on the actual form, it cannot be edited itself. You can only remove the client details. You can't actually edit the testimonial itself. Another thing to keep in mind, you cannot change the order. So in other words, if you are trying to change the order of the testimonials, they need to be completely re-added. New testimonials by default show up at the bottom. So essentially what the expectation is as new testimonials are added, you would essentially start unchecking some of the ones at the top in order to add additional ones at the bottom. But once you guys do add those in, save and apply, you would go through that same process of save changes. And then for this one, I'm going to do no. However, once you guys have testimonials that you want on your website, you can go ahead and do yes, or go in through the agent site pages portion where we are earlier. And again, this is all typed out on those instructions just in case, as you guys add testimonials, whether it's today or over the weekend, you'll be able to get those on your live website. So I'm going to go ahead and click on no, just so this is left as a template. Don't want to add those testimonials for her. Last but not least, I want to show you guys how to add completely custom content. In regards to completely customized content, I'm going to show you guys on the notes all the way towards the bottom. It is the second to last page. It's the second to last page. So I went through and kind of typed up some quick tips that go over how to pull content that is outside of command entirely. So if you guys have information that you're trying to add to your website, maybe you want to add local vendors, or you want to add, what was something else that we've seen lately? Local vendors. Sometimes people are running like a contest, or they want to do sold listings, or anything along that type of information, any sort of custom content. The beauty of custom content on the command website, if you guys add it to a Google Docs file, essentially the exact same thing that I'm sharing notes on with you, a Google Docs file, you can copy it from the Google Doc and paste it to command, and it will keep all of that formatting. And I'm going to show you guys what that looks like really quick, just so you guys can see. But this is essentially what these steps go over. How to make sure it's pasted in, how to make sure you're also adding some sort of widget. My personal recommendation is just drop the mobile app at the bottom of any custom page, and you guys are golden. How to embed an image if you guys are looking to do that, embedding videos, embedding other URLs using an iframe generator. It goes over all of that. So just in case you guys do have completely customized content that you're trying to add, it's on these notes for you guys. So for the custom page, pull it up, have it on a different link. I'll pull that page up just so you guys can see what it looks like. So these are just kind of like dummy properties that I have as sold properties. And again, this is just a Word doc. It's a Google Doc. That way it's shareable, makes things a little bit easier, especially if you guys ever need help with any of this content. This file format is something that you can copy directly from. So you'll notice that I have like my big font, and it's bold and capital. I have my images, they're centered. I have my text, it's italic and then bold. Just some pretty basic information. These are just our sold properties. So I can actually copy this information from this page right to command. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So if I come back to command, and I would do create a new page, and then on my agent site, and create. And I'm just going to label this one test sold. That way I know that this is a test. And once we have that added, we're going to treat this the exact same way that we did the mortgage calculator. So if I drag and drop my mobile app first, and then I would go ahead into my content blocks, and I would use a text box, exact same thing as our mortgage calculator. And I would drag and drop that above. Again, make sure you're above the mobile app specifically, so the content that you're providing value with is first. So that's right up here. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my custom page, and I'm just doing Control A to select everything. You guys can manually select it, whatever's easier, but just Control A, and I'll copy it. You can do shortcuts as well. go back to command. And the same thing as the mortgage calculator, you want to make sure that you highlight this text or delete it prior to pasting anything in. That way the insert your text here doesn't end up on your live website. So I highlighted that and I'm just going to right click right over it and paste. And there's my content. And it adds it in verbatim. It's still editable. I still have my images. I still have my formatting. Everything is there and it is saved. So this is essentially one of the, I would say it is the easiest way to add custom content to your website. The beauty of this is if you guys create a Google Doc, a Word Google Doc with this content, heaven forbid you accidentally click something and you mess up formatting, or heaven forbid you accidentally delete the page or something gets wonky or something gets clicked. You have a carbon copy of all of this information where you can literally edit this once more, or if you want to tweak something, you can come right back in here and just paste it right over it. So it's a great way to make sure, just in case something ever gets deleted, you guys have a carbon copy, makes things a little bit easier. But as far as edits go, as you guys add things onto that document, you can paste it right in, but it just, that's it, it's done. So now you can essentially just click on save changes and you would be able to click on yes and make that a live page. I'm going to go ahead and click on no once more, just so I don't add that to our website. But as far as adding that custom content in, that's probably the easiest way to do that. Just in case you guys do have anything that you need added. If you are running into anything specifically that you're trying to add to the website and you hit a roadblock and you're unsure how to accomplish it, definitely let us know. We can always take a look and then provide instructions of how we would essentially get that content added for you. And we also have some additional tip videos that I've added to our notes all the way down at the bottom that go over just how to get some additional content added to your website overall. I also recommend, if you have a chance, to take a look at the notes that are hyperlinked underneath this video. There are some additional pages that we don't go over in the website 201 class that you guys can also add. There are a bunch of pages. So you guys have access to all of that as well. So that can be added on. But if you guys run into anything or have questions, definitely give us a heads up. Our email is support@scottleroymarketing.com. And if you guys run into anything, feel free to reach out to us there. And I hope that you guys had a great day and got something out of class today. But again, if you guys need anything, don't hesitate to reach out and we can always take a look at your account specifically. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.